What's going on, guys? This is my Brion Stoutarm WrestleMania deck. So, this deck is all about doing a lot of damage and throwing damage around, and also having your opponents deal a lot of damage. Kind of like in a WrestleMania main event, like a Royal Rumble or something. They're fighting everywhere, and every single hit counts for what you do. So, this is all about trying to not make Boros better, but try to take out as much people and then try to finish people off with a bunch of dirty moves like in wrestling. And even and I love this deck. This deck is extremely fun. My play group actually enjoyed it so much, we actually made our own format for it using these belts. We call it I call it the main event, or or WrestleMania. The deck, I call itself WrestleMania, but what we do is we have champions, and if you win with that commander, if you win one of the belts with that commander, you only can play that commander. And when we play like in a pod or whatever, these are what's up for grabs, and you get bragging rights, and you get to go first if you're the champ for a champion match. So, regardless, let's get into the deck tech. Let's get into deck tech. If you want to know more about this format, maybe you guys could play it yourself. I'll just comment down below, and maybe I'll make a video on it. So, let's move the belts out of the way. They're too flashy and shiny. By the way, these belts were made by Card Kingdom. So, they're extreme. Like, they look so good. They were made... thank you so much. I believe the guy who made it, his name is Brion as well. His is with the A, which actually makes me extremely happy because, like, holy crap, it's so funny. Oh no, he may have just spelled it wrong. It's okay, whatever. I love the belts. Thank you so much, Card Kingdom, and your artists. You guys are amazing. So let's go on with the deck. What does it do? Brion Stoutarm himself has lifelink, which is extremely important. He has lifelink, and he could fling for 1 red. You sacrifice creature, and you deal that much damage to target player. You can't do it to a creature, but you can do it to target player. So we're going to abuse that as much as possible. And while we're doing that, our whole deck is based around dealing more damage, or trying to sustain with some life, and then, pack a punch on the way out. If we do not win, people are going to be hurt. So we try to go for the win as much as possible. I believe if you're playing a Boros deck or a white deck, you should have the freedom of mind to actually finish the game and try to get things done. Okay, we don't have super broken combos. In not only in this deck, but in white in general, white and Boros, combat is our main thing, so we're trying to hurt them as much as possible. So let's start out with the artifacts. The main thing about our artifact package is we want to either protect Stoutarm, or we want to be able to work without Stoutarm. So we have the boots, so that we can protect them. Everyone has boots to protect their commander if their commander has to stay on the battlefield. So we have boots. We have Mimic Vat. So if any of our creatures die, we can just bring them back. And if something of value of our opponents comes back, we can actually, when it actually dies, we can actually bring it back with the Mimic Vat. And then whatever we do, if we have Stoutarm, instead of just letting it die at the end turn, we could just fling it, so we can get extra value out of it. So that's what helps with Mimic Vat. I love that card. I actually think it's very underrated. Vidalcan Ori, so we can do things at instant speed if we have it out. Sometimes we want to play some things at the back end, or just before our turn. We have spells that actually, we have some cards that deal double damage or increase damage, and we want to throw it at the back end of it, at the back end of the turn cycle. So just on our untap step, we can actually start doing things. So on our turn, we can actually be safe, because usually if you play something, it may cost 5 or 6 or 4, but during that whole turn rotation, they can target you and start smacking you in the face. So you want to play a little bit safe around it. So being able to play it at right after the person that goes before you, you'll have a better time, and you'll kind of save your life, because you're trying to get to where your life is super high if you're using Brion, and sometimes Brion can swing in and just get you some extra life. So you wanna play around for Alkalori if you have it in play. So we have a Cauldron of Souls. So if we fling something, or if something dies, it could bring it back. We can get the extra value. We can we have Staff coming later on down the line. So Staff's gonna help you untap whenever you fling it, and then you get to, when it comes back, you can fling it again. So it's pretty nice. It helps a lot. I don't tend to get it out all the time, but when I do, it actually does a lot. Explorer Scope. This equipment, I believe it's very underrated, because Explorer Scope is a budget version of Sword of Animist, and I think Sword of Animist is actually very underrated. But with Sword of Animist, you actually get to abuse it whenever we're swinging all the time. So, like, if you don't have Sword of Animist, I made a video on the channel literally explaining Explorer Scope. These two are one and the same, in my opinion. You just check the top card of your library. If anything, you get to see what you're gonna draw, and you don't have to reveal it unless it's a land. So, and if it's a land, just go straight onto the field. And ramp is important for a lot of decks, and this is my way to kind of get a little bit of damage and ramp with it. So Sword of Animus, whenever you swing, it lets you get a basic land from your deck to the field tapped. So both of these are really good, especially when you're swinging a lot. And in Boros, where combat is our main thing, play for one and equip for one, that's almost nothing. And for a chance to rampant growth, and Sword of the Animus, play two, equip for two, and every time you swing, it's a guaranteed rampant growth. I actually think that's very, very important. Very important. So, Skull Clamp, if we're gonna fling things, draw power is really decent. So if we fling it, it helps a ton just to not only get one damage, but just draw power. Grafted War Gear, what it does is it helps us dish out a decent amount of damage. +3, plus when we fling it, Stoutarm sees that 3, so we get an extra 3 health. And whenever we're doubling damage, that 3 means a lot. It turns to 6, so it's important. Combustible Gear Hulk. The reason why I have it as an artifact and not a creature, not in the creature section, is because I actually use it for threaten effects, and I love the draw capability on here. We're playing Brion Stoutarm. There's some things that cost 6, and they cost 6 and 5, and there's a lot of and 4. And when he enters the battlefield, you can either draw cards, so you either can draw 3 cards, or reveal the top 3 cards of your library, and they take damage. With the doubling effects, you're really gonna try to abuse this. But I like to see it as an artifact, because usually once he's on the field, you don't really have anything else but a big beater. So if the artifacts are destroyed or whatnot, if most of the time they're going to use artifact removal on it. It should be in the creature section, absolutely, but I just think of it as a artifact because it just does what I need it to do and draw power and threaten. I never get to swing with this thing, so I don't know. I don't know why. I never get a chance to swing with it. Usually it dies because a lot of people know that you're going to have some bounce shenanigans going on with it. I actually use a land to bounce him up and down. So other than that, if he dies and he comes back, you can keep threatening. Mostly he just gets removed. A lot of people either remove him or destroy him. So he never gets to swing, but you just want that into the battlefield effect. I usually get it like once, but it's very important. Remember, if you're actually using him, he's good. He usually lets you draw. But if they say no and you reveal the top cards, you're going to hurt them. I've smacked somebody for like 18 higher amounts of damage. Just killing. I've killed people with him before. He just does work. In my opinion, he's like a weaker version of your reservoir. So he's just a source of damage to you. You don't really care about the six body. But if you can fling him, fling it. Do it whatever. If you can get him on Mimivat, put him on Mimivat. Do whatever you can to get damage out of him. He is one of your greatest damage outputs and threatens and draw power. So I know paying 6 to draw is bad, but what are you going to do? Let's deal damage. Let's just use him for damage. So Reservoir, if you're gaining health and you get over, I've won games because I've shot somebody in the face for 50 and then had enough health just to get by because of the lifelink and things like that. So you need a win con, and Brion Stoutarm, I think this is a win con that has to go with him, because if you're getting some life, then it hurts. It hurts a lot. So definitely remember to try this try this out in your Brion Stoutarm deck. It's worth it. It's definitely worth it, man. It's worth it. All right, let's speed on through a little bit. Let's try to get through this. Staff, you equip it to Stoutarm. If something dies, it untaps it. So whenever a creature is put into a graveyard from play, untap this creature. So if you have anything that can come back, if you're using the Cauldron, or if it has persist, just tap, fling it, get your health. You're abusing Stoutarm. Sunforger. Sunforger, it's just for counterplays. It's just a staple. I can't believe this card is cheap now. It's cheap now. Holy crap. So use it. Plus, it puts 4. It puts 4 power onto your creature. So I love it. I love it. You put on Stoutarm, you're swinging for 8, you gain 8. So, Well of Lost Dreams, life that you gain. So life that you gain, you can pay. That much mana, and gain some draw power. It's another way for draw power. I don't get to use it as often. Usually there's better cards in my hand. I may switch it out, but the times that I get to use it, it's actually fun. So there's the actual card effect. When you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to the amount of life that you gain. If you do, draw X cards. It's good, but sometimes I'm doing better things. Another playmaker of the deck, Phyrexian Processor. So if it pretty much says when it enters the battlefield, you pay life, and then you can pay 4 to make an X token equal to the life that you made. I've always dropped 10 or 20 and then immediately flung it. So drop 20. If no one gets rid of it, then you have Stoutarm on the field or something like that, you just fling it. You gain your life back. So your investment on it comes right back if you can fling it. Other than that, I've made beat sticks just to stay alive. So that's always great. And then I've never flooded the board with it, but 1 or 2 times use will help you dish out some damage. So just the 20/20 is great. All right, so now we have our mana rocks and a little bit of our search and not necessarily draw power, but just sifting through cards. So 2-drop mana rocks are important to me. So we have Mind Stone, Felwar Stone. We have the Boros Talisman, Wayfarer's Bauble. I may switch Wayfarer's Bauble out, but sometimes I just need extra land and things like that. But now that some cards have gotten cheaper, I'm definitely gonna put some more in here. Prismatic Lens, Boros Signet, Soul Ring. Just cheap mana rocks and ways to get up on mana. You need ramp, and artifacts are just like the best ways for Boros to have ramp. Treasure Map. So what Treasure Map does, it helps you sift through the top card of your library. That is extremely important. You don't want to draw lands in the late game, and if you have it early, it helps you try to look for other things to help get damage on the board. The flipping portion of it is not really necessary, but if it flips, Like if it flips, it can let you draw for treasure, and then you can use that treasure. You can use that draw power from what you would use from anything that would give you treasure, like Smothering Tides. You use that treasure to draw, and then it just turns into a draw power engine. It doesn't really happen too often because Smothering Tides doesn't always stay on the field for too long. A lot of people tend to miraculously find answers for Smothering Tide, and then get rid of it. So Alter, we have some threatened effects that take creatures. We sacrifice them like at the end turn. If we don't have anything to do with them, we sacrifice them, get them out of here. We don't want them to go back to their owner, so we just get rid of them. And sacrifice is fair. So that's really awesome. If we need it, we can just search it out with a few tutors or whatnot. Thaza Elixir gives things haste that normally don't have haste. Basically what it says is you may play activated abilities of creatures you control as though they had haste, and it also can untap for 1, so it can untap Stoutarm, and you can use his ability again. So now that we've gone over our artifacts, you see that we're trying to build up a little bit fast. Let's go straight to the creatures. So the creatures that we have are either big, they hurt you creatures. So 7, dealing 7. If it comes in when it enters the battlefield, we're gonna swing it. And if it hits, we're gonna fling it, and then it comes back, or we're gonna fling it and then we're gonna swing it. It just depends on whichever way you're going about it. But sometimes, just whenever they're open and you just pay 5, bam. I know it seems like it's not much, but that persist that it has on it is important. And if it has a -1 counter on it because of the persist, it gains trample. That never really matters. You're just gonna swing it anyway because you want to get rid of a creature and then hurt them as much as you can. So, Salam Assalamu Alaikum. Salam Salacrium. When he enters the battlefield, you gain life. You can fling it. You can draw a card. He's okay. He just works with a bunch of things in the deck. You can use Mimic Vat, give him persist, bring him back and whatnot. What are the heavy hitters? Phyrexian Dreadnought. He's won me so many games. If you have Phyrexian Dreadnought and you have something that whenever they enter the battlefield it deals damage, which we have that in our meat and potatoes, which is our enchantments. He flinks for 12. When he enters the battlefield, you pay 1. And then if Stoutarm's on the field, you can fling him because his effect goes on the stack. His sacrifice effect goes on the stack. And then you just fling him while it's on the stack. And then you just choose not to sacrifice anything. You choose to sacrifice him, but he's no longer there. He's in a graveyard. With double effects, you can deal 24 easy bake. You can deal, if you have quadruple damage, you can just outright destroy people. He's won me so many games just because he's a 1-drop. And you just fling him for 12. He's great. Captive Crew. When he he has pay 4. You gain control of target creature. Usually you either fling it or you sacrifice it. Just get rid of things. Stalking Vengeance. I know he costs 12. I mean, not 12, but I know he costs 12. Oh my god, what am I thinking? He costs 7. But he has haste. You never really swing with him. I don't want to lose him, so you never really swing with him unless it's an open board. But when creatures you control die, that creature deals damage equal to its power to target player. This is like a doubling effect with Stoutarm. So you fling it, they deal damage, and then it deals damage. Stalking Vengeance sees it and then deals that damage again for 7, and it only goes for your creatures. That's great. If you have Stalking Vengeance out and other things die and Stoutarm's not there, then you just get free damage. And sometimes you're playing bigger things and sometimes you're blocking and this damage just goes through. So Stalking Vengeance, extremely good. He costs a lot, but I definitely believe he's worth it. And whenever we're doing double damage, you can abuse him and he's definitely win me games. So Amaria Shepherd, if you play, basically this reads, if you play a land, you get a permanent from the graveyard, a non-land permanent from graveyard to the to your hand. If it's a plains, you get that permanent to the battlefield and stand instead. So it helps brings things back. You're sacrificing as the game goes longer. You want to play this normally in the late game. As the game goes longer, you're sacrificing things. So you want to just get rid of. You want to get those things back, and then get rid of them again. And then if it's something that gives you value, you can just keep killing them over and over and over again, and trying to get some effects off, and just kill your opponents. You're trying to be as cheesy as possible with this deck. So Spit Howler, he has Evoke. You may cast this spell for its Evoke cost. If you do, sacrifice it when it enters the battlefield. When it dies, it deals 6 damage to a creature. This is a creature removal for 3, but whenever he enters the battlefield, whenever his trigger kicks off, you just fling it so that you can get 6 damage to a person and 6 damage to a creature. And if you have other effects that double it, then it just really hurts. So 6 damage, and it's usually he pretty much just kills whatever I need to be gone. So I like him. He does a lot of damage. Feldon is a playmaker of the deck. I always get excited for Feldon because unlike Amaria Shepherd, he costs 3, and his effect costs 3 as well. But it's 2 colorless and a red. So what you're doing is you're getting things back from the graveyard for 3, especially if it's something that's extremely expensive. But what really makes me happy about Feldon is that it's graveyard recursion that you don't normally see in a mono red card, and you get some really solid creatures back. So with how the deck's going off, you get to get a solid creature. It has haste, so you can crash in and then sacrifice it. So it's really solid. You can get ETB effects back. That's what it helps a lot. He's like another Maria Shepherd, but I actually think he's completely underrated. He's really solid. So we have a Hoarding Dragon. What Hoarding Dragon does is he can get any one of our artifacts. When he enters the battlefield, he gets an artifact, exile it, and then whenever he dies, you put the artifact into your hand. So what I tend to do is I tend to look for anything that would either let me get a beat stick, or something like that, or maybe I'll get like Reservoir. You want to get something to help close out the game, and he lets you search. He's one of the few searches that you have in the deck. So I definitely want to abuse him as much as possible. But whenever he's also a 4, so flinging him is actually really decent. Kermit Guide brings things back from the graveyard. That's what you really want. It has protection from black. It doesn't really matter. You just want to bring things back. That's all you want to do. Bring things back and then reuse them again. Sarah Ascendant, I believe this is just a value. Like, this is legit just a value spot. You play her turn 1, she gains you health. She kind of helps you get ready for the fight, the long haul, because as you're flinging out damage and you're hurting people get very spiteful and they start to swing at you back. So you tend to just kind of beat face with her as much as possible. With I always think it's a girl, but it's probably like a dude. But you want to beat face as much as possible with the Ascendant. And then if they try to get rid of it or they try to exile it, you fling it, you bring it back, you start beating face again and whatnot. A great target for Feldon because you gain some health. If it dies, it deals 6 damage with Vengeance. It's really solid in the deck, and you just need someone with good lifelink. Another person with good lifelink, Spark Trooper. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. I always wanted to play this card whenever it was made. What Spark Trooper does is it has all the keywords you could possibly need for the deck. You have Trample, you have lifelink, you have haste. It sacrifices at the end of the turn. At the beginning of the end turn, it sacrifices. That's fine. You're gonna bring them back and swing and then fling it, or you can bring them back and then you can skull clamp them. He does everything you need. You can use him for draw power. You can beat face with all the doublers. He has 6. He's a 6 creature, 6 damage for 4. He has all what you need. This is the epitome of WrestleMania. The boy comes in and spears somebody. So he literally looks like he's about to spear somebody. Comes in and wrecks them. And you gain life. And if you have something that makes him deal damage, like Vengeance, you gain life whenever he deals damage on the getting out. Or if you have anything that whenever he enters the battlefield, it deals damage. You get damage when he enters the battlefield, you get damage when he swings, and if your Vengeance is on there, you get damage when he leaves. The boy's awesome. I love him. I'm sorry, I rambled a little bit on. Scaling Doom Engine, he costs 6, can't really be blocked by 2 creatures or less. So if someone's running weenies or they have small creatures on the build, you just kind of get in, and then if he dies, you deal 6 damage to target opponent. He's fair, he's decent, he just deals damage, nice little creature. He's just a beat stick, pretty much, just a 6-drop beat stick. So we have Knight of the White Orchard. What he's just here for ramp. That's all he's here for, is for ramp. If you bring him back, you're just getting some planes back. So you're getting some planes just so that you can further your board. Valkyrie is helping bring things back as well. Just a lot of recursion. You just need to get your things back from the graveyard, and then you know what we do with them. We fling them, stuff like that. Worm Coil Engine. I advise for Stoutarm Worm Coil Engine to be in there. He's a 6-drop beat stick. He has Death Touch and Lifelink, which Lifelink is the thing that we love. And then whenever he dies, he gets you 2 creatures. One has Lifelink, which we love it, and one has Death Touch, which we love it. And any triggers for any of the battlefield that let them deal damage. Or when you bring him back and they die and he deals damage and dies, you get more tokens, and the tokens are good blockers and attackers, and it helps. He's just value. He's just really value. And the fact that you can bring him back and recur him is very solid. He does a lot of work in the deck. And whenever you play a Worm Coil Engine, a lot of people stop in their tracks and try to figure out, all right, we may just have to bite the bullet and kill him. Removal spells usually target him or whatnot, but you tend to come out on top with this guy. I like him. So let's go into the instants and sorceries. So we're going to get some nice saucy things going on here. We're going to go a little bit faster here, but we're only going to talk about the ones that actually matter the most. So Enlightened Tutor, we're going to go search for an artifact or enchantment. Mostly we're going to go for enchantment. We're trying to get a WrestleMania started with all the enchantments that double damage. So Return to Dust. Usually we don't have too much to remove at instant speed. This will help remove 1. I hate holding up 4, but sometimes there's 2 big problems. Sometimes I play in a pretty big pod, anywhere from 4 people to 6 people. Actually 6 people and 4 people more casually. So, sometimes removing things is very important. There's 2 things. So I like it. This is my flexible slot, but having a flexible slot on removal doesn't really bother me too much. Idyllic Tutor, we want to go get one of the enchantments that actually that doubles. So that's the important part. Blasphemous Act gets rid of problems. We just need to get rid of a bunch of things. Insurrection, you gain control of all creatures. And you smack them in the face. If you have Sacrifice Outlet, you sacrifice them all so that they don't get it back. You usually use this for a game winner, but nowadays it doesn't really work like that. So you just kind of use it for a lot of damage, especially with your damage doublers. Cleansing Nova, destroy everything that needs to be getting rid of. So if you got to get rid of creatures, do it. If you got to get rid of artifacts or enchantments, if someone's just going ham with artifacts and enchantments are our biggest thing, we may have to bite the bullet, but in the long haul, this is extremely important. Having a flexible board wipe is actually really good, and 5 is great. Lapse of Certainty. This helps. This is just a white counter spell. It puts the spell on top of their library. It helps for whenever you're doing game winning, and they try to stop it. It's just a 3-drop, save your keister. So definitely try it. It's really cool. Active Aggression. It's instant speed. You can gain control of target. You gain control of a creature. Untaps it. It gains haste. It costs 3. I always pay the life because we have life gain with Stoutarm. I always pay the life, pretty much. If they have something broken, you can do that, or you can sacrifice it or fling it with Stoutarm. Very flexible. I love it. It's really good. We have a few effects like that, and one's on our land, so it helps us free a slot. Risk factor. So whenever you have double things that double abilities, double damage, you can target somebody and then be like, hey, you take 4, doubles, you take 8, or you take 16 or something like that. You take or 8, was it? Yeah, 8, 16. Yeah. You either take that or I draw 3 cards. They tend to let you draw 3 cards. Some people are hard-headed. They take the 8, but remember, it has Jumpstart. And Jumpstart means that whenever you can cast it from your graveyard. So you can cast it from your graveyard by discarding a card, and then you just ask them again. You ask that same person again. You want to do it again, buddy boy? You want to go another round? And if they say yes, then you pretty much just kill that person. All right, they're not helping you. All right, and if they're not helping you in life, they're hurting you, and you don't need that. So, Day of Judgment, get rid of everything, kill all creatures. If your creatures aren't giving you enough value, sometimes you just gotta wipe the board. Token producers and stuff like that, get rid of that. You don't need that. So, Faithless Looting, another draw spell. Everyone's running Faithless Looting in a red deck. So, let's go. Thud is a meme. It's just a fling for 1, so it's Stoutarm's ability for 1. If you're ahead or you take somebody's creature or something like that, you can thud it and just deal damage to them. Thud can go to any target, so you can smack a creature, another creature, or things like that. If someone's playing an Eldrazi, you can take an Eldrazi that is indestructible, and you sacrifice it, and you kill something that is. I've done that so many times to Eldrazi decks. I'm tired of you guys, and this is my answer for 1. So thank you so much to all the people who lost to me playing Eldrazi, because I take your creatures and fling them to you in the face. Gamble, it's another tutor. Take the risk. Take the risk. Gamble's good. Take the risk. You go get a card from your library, and then shuffle your hand, and then you discard a card at random, and then there you go. Generous Gift gets rid of target permanent. This is spot removal. I'm thinking about having more spot removal instead of nuking everything. More spot removal nowadays are actually important. They're just creating like one thing after another, and at some point in time, they can't keep. You're not gonna have all the broken things. So getting rid of one thing at a time is actually really solid. So definitely do that. We have Flurry. So we have Fury. So it's a fling, but it's on a land, so I can have it in the battlefield as a land. That's pretty much it. Grab the Rings. It's if you pay 7, you can grab something and fling it. That's it. That's really much it. If you pay 7, you can grab something and fling it. That's it. All right, saucy card right here. Insult. So what Insult does is whenever damage can't be prevented, and damage is doubled. This is one of our meat and potato cards right here. So I'm gonna put that up here. Insult. So it's also insult to injury, but insult. Now, this is the enchantments. I know the video is kind of going long, but I really want to explain the deck. So, our enchantments, this is the Hall of Fame. What it does is whenever, it's Gift of Immortality. If something would die at the end turn, Gift of Immortality comes back and then brings the creature back. So, it helps just getting things back. Recursion, if you notice, recursion in this deck is running rampant. So, that's what we need, recursion. Getting things back and then reusing them over and over again. So, Pandemonium. Pandemonium is one of our meat and potato cards. What Pandemonium does is whenever a creature comes into play, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. This goes for everybody. Everybody. So people are going to be fighting each other. People are going to be killing their other creatures, dealing damage to everybody's face. What's our objective? Our objective is to deal the most damage and gain life so that we can sustain ourselves through all the damage that's being thrown out. So, and then we abuse it because some of our creatures enter the battlefield with lifelink. So that helps a ton. Vicious Shadows. What Vicious Shadow does is whenever a creature dies and goes to the graveyard, you can actually decide who's going to take the damage. You can be like, all right, you're going to take the damage. They take damage equal to the number of cards in their hand. So if anybody has a lot of cards in their hand, you can punish them for that. And our things are going to be dying and flinging and stuff all the time. And if we nuke the field, someone's going to take a boatload of damage and die. So help finish people off. Twin, so that we can have a good creature, put it onto a host, tap it, make a copy, use that copy's ability, attack with it, fling it. So just having an extra of whatever we already have, it's actually really solid. So bombardment, sack outlet, deal 1 damage to something. We're just trying to get rid of things that we take. So gratuitous violence. If a creature you control would deal damage, so this is just for us. If a creature you control would deal damage to a creature or player, it deals double that damage. Lifelink, and this helps with lifelink, and it helps finish up people off. This is our meat and potato cards. Literally a meat and potato card. This helps us double damage. That's all it pretty much says. Double damage. Smothering Tides. Smothering Tides help beat people. That's all it is. Gives us ramp, and then we can use those tokens to be sacrificed with that land to draw cards, or we just need to pay for our expensive things early. So that's what we want. Ramp. This is what helps us try to skyrocket and get ahead. So land tax, solid card. Just want to make sure we hit our land drops. And over the course of the game, it'll actually help us stay with our opponents if they're not ramping. And then I guess it doesn't really matter with the deck thinning, but if you have it all game, then I've had times where I've taken all of my lands out, besides the utility lands, and it's happened before. I know it's happened like quite a bit actually. So, Dictator of the Twin Gods doubles damage for everybody. Thing about it is it has flash, so play it during the other person's the person before you's end step. Play that one. Play that. So we have Vance's blast cannon. Blah 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 blah. Blast cannon. What it does is just exiles the top card of your library at the beginning of your upkeep, and then you can play that card. You can play it. So it just extra draw power for 4. I don't really like it as much, but it helps. It helps me just kind of get an extra draw in. I'm gonna try to find other ways to do better, but it's helped me a ton. It's the extra draw helps. Discarding and things like that doesn't really matter to us that much, but it helps, gives us an extra draw. Outlaws Merriman. This is I've been playtesting with this card. It gives you a 3-drop if you're lucky, but you get a 3, a 2, or a 1. The 1, when it's a battlefield, deals damage. The cleric has lifelink, which is important, lifelink and haste. And then the trampler is a 3/1 with trample and haste. So you can abuse all of these triggers, all of these. So it's just awesome. If it's a good pet card, it stays there. Assemble the Legion. Same thing, a good pet card. It just gives you 1. If it stays on 2, the 3 and 4. It's just, if we get it in our early game, we just kind of keep it there until it becomes a problem. And I've never won the game with any of these cards, but they've definitely given me chump blockers, give me things to fling, things to attack for 2 and deal 2 damage and stuff like that. So I really like it. Dawn of Hope makes lifelink tokens, and if you gain life, you can pay 2 to draw cards. It's really there for the pay 2 draw cards, but you can make a soldier with lifelink, and we also like that. So it's good. If you have a dead hand or you have nothing to do, you can make a lifelink blocker. We have Fiery Emancipation. It deals triple damage. Sources you control deal damage to target permanents. It deals triple damage. That should not exist in Magic. Triple damage. This is the meat and potato, the best. It's a 6-drop, the best thing we ever wanted. Another meat and potatoes, Furnace of Wrath. Doubles the damage for everything. This is only for us. This is for everything else. So it'll do 5 times damage if Fury will do 5 times damage if it's paired up with any of those. And if something enters the battlefield and deals damage, we're trying to abuse that. And then it gains life. If they have lifelink, we gain that much life. So it helps finish things off. That's what Magic is going towards. So as far as lands, we have Endless Sands. Helps us bounce a creature. It exiles a creature for 2, and then we pay 4 next turn to bounce it, to bring it back. And enter the battlefield effects and stuff like that. That's what we're gonna abuse with it. Was it Sunbaked Canyon? It's just for draw power and mana. It's just for draw power and mana fixing. That's pretty. Oh, a High Market. It's for a sacrifice outlet. If something's about to die, or if we take something from our opponents, we can sacrifice it. We gain life, but that's all right. Slayer Stronghold. Give target creature +2 and vigilance. Sometimes that +2 does mean something, but you're really trying to get the vigilance, so you want to be able to hold a creature up. The +2, if we give something +2 and we swing it and then we fling it, we get a little bit more of an advantage out of it. But other than that, it's just for the vigilance. Temple just gives us Scry. Castle Artevale. What it does is it makes a 1/1 human token, something to fling, and something to fling and something to block with. It's decent. Forgotten Cave. It's a cycle card. Drawing in a late game is important. Temple of the False God just gives you 2 mana. Sunhome. Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion. What it does is it gives target creature gains double strike. It doesn't have to be your creature. So if someone swings with a big creature and it's getting in for free on an opponent, you legit just say, all right, well, I'm going to give it double strike. And that's killed so much before. And also giving your own creatures double strike is great too. But if someone's swinging at another person and you're like, all right, give it double strike, then you get tons of free damage just for paying 4 and just watching as things go by. That's pretty much it. I have the Sky Rune. I'm thinking about adding more planes just so we can try to get more things back and recursion. But other than that, that's pretty much the deck. That's pretty much what it is. So we're abusing, dealing double damage and triple damage, and as damage is going on throughout the whole game, you're trying to close it out with your lifelink and kill them one by one. There are things that you can do with if you take if you have your artifact that lets you deal 50 damage to somebody, what you can do is you can smack somebody for 50. You can do a bunch of damage, smack somebody for 50, and then try to survive the rest of the game like that. Or if you can by chance use the Phyrexian processor to create a creature, create a very expensive token. So you pay 30 life and you fling it. And then you fling it, and then you make another token, and you fling it, then you pay 50, kill that person, and then you stall for the rest, and then things like that. So that's the deck. I really enjoy it. It's called WrestleMania. It's all about big damage and big flashy things. I personally love it. If you guys want to see more things like this, definitely comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. I'm sorry it's lengthy. I really like to talk about the decks that I brew. So you guys, please be safe and careful. Have an awesome time. I'll check you guys in the next game. Much love. Or the next video. Much love.